Hey yo, shout out to the top percent, that's you guys. I'm Ranter Joey, this is FutureSight, and today we're looking at Team Plasma's Magnezone. Team Plasma's Magnezone is a card that's coming to us in the upcoming Plasma Storm set. It was originally shown to us about a month ago, so we pretty much guaranteed to have it. As expected, Magnezone is a Stage 2 Electric-type Pokemon with 140 hit points, the ability Dual Brains, which allows you to use 2 supporters during your turn instead of the standard 1, the attack Gyro Ball, which for 2 electric and a colorless energy allows you to 80 damage. You then switch Magnezone with one of your bench Pokemon, and your opponent does the same, with 2 times weakness to fighting and a retreat cost of 3. From what I've seen, there's been a mixed reaction to Magnezone coming into this format. Some people feel that Dual Brains is going to make Magnezone incredibly playable. Other people think that it's not as good as others think it is. Myself, I'm kind of on the fence about it. The ability to play 2 supporters per turn can be completely game-changing. It makes the idea of using Skylar to grab supporter a lot more feasible, because now you can use Skylar to actually guarantee some kind of draw instead of Skylar for Juniper for next turn. You can Skylar for Juniper for this turn. The major drawback, and the reason I'm undecided on Magnezone, is effectively the fact that he's a Stage 2 Pokemon. Being a Stage 2 means that he isn't really what you'd call splashable. In the current format, just looking at the decks we have right now, how can you just splash him into a deck? Let's take a look at the Darkrai variants, and we'll start with Darkrai Hydreigon. In a deck like Darkrai Hydreigon, you're already relying on Stage 2 to sit on your bench and basically provide your deck with options and abilities. Without that Hydreigon, you don't have the ability to take one Darkrai and tank with it. You can't move energies without that Hydreigon, and if you can't move the energies, then you can't effectively max potion and conserve your board. You can save a Darkrai, but you lose the energy. If you were going to try and place Magnezone in a Darkrai Hydreigon list, you effectively turn around and say, well, now I need to have a Darkrai active, Hydreigon and Magnezone on the bench. And I don't feel that this would really work out the way you want it to. For a start, you'd actually have to decide what do you prefer to actually have down first. Do you want the Hydreigon for your early game setup, or do you want to go with Magnezone to accelerate more resources out of deck? Add on top of that the fact that if you do decide to go for the Hydreigon, then anything you draw from Magnezone is effectively a dead draw. And even if you decide, oh, I'm going to go for Hydreigon, and you get the Magnezone, it just happens to fall into your lap, so you can have the turn 2 Magnezone. If you play the second supporter, you're not guaranteed to get the Candy Hydreigon as well, especially seeing as you've just used a Candy to get Magnezone. So out of 4 candies, you've only got 3 left. If one's prized, you've got 2 left in a deck that contains in excess of 40 cards. So say you go for a card like N, drawing 6 cards, you've got effectively a 1 in 8 chance of hitting a Candy, and you need to hit the Hydreigon as well. It really does mess with your consistency. Another drawback to running Magnezone in Darkrai Hydreigon is also the fact that the time you spend setting up a Magnezone, you could effectively set up a second Hydreigon instead. If you're playing the Darkrai Hydreigon match, you set up that Hydreigon, one of your opponent's priorities is going to be get rid of Hydreigon, effectively take away your engine. If you go for Hydreigon and Magnezone, you've basically spent resources that could have gone on a second Hydreigon on the Magnezone. Those resources aren't as recoverable as you feel. Towards the middle to late game, you can't effectively just bring up Sableye, grab a rare candy, and not concede a prize for it. In your mid to late game, Sableye is going to be a one-shot, no matter how your opponent's set up. With that said though, we could try something like Magnezone in Speed Darkrai. The major drawback I could see of trying Magnezone in Speed Darkrai though is the fact that effectively to build Speed Darkrai, you remove the Hydreigon line from Darkrai Hydreigon and just focus on pure offense. If you put Magnezone into Speed Darkrai, you're effectively just changing out Hydreigon for Magnezone, so the speed you should have in Speed Darkrai isn't there. It travels at the same speed as Darkrai Hydreigon, but you don't have the Hydreigon engine to back Darkrai up the same way that Hydreigon does. And that's pretty pretty much Magnezone in Darkrai covered. I don't see Magnezone and Darkrai having synergy or working out as well as people want it to. A lot of what I've also said for Darkrai Hydreigon can easily be transferred into Keldeo Blastoise. You've got the same problem of you've already relying on stage 2, you have to decide which stage 2 to go for first, and you really want to be setting up a backup for your main engine instead of going for a card that grabs you more resources. That being said though, what about Eel variants? Magnezone is electric, Eel variants work off electric energy, can Magnezone work there? And to be honest, I feel that Magnezone would be better suited in an Eel deck, because instead of relying on basic stage 2, you're relying on basic in stage 1. It's not going to be as hard to set up. The major problem with it is though the whole fact that you do have to make space for Magnezone. Even if you're on a 2-1-2 line, you're effectively going to be running at least 3 rare candies for it. So a 2-1-2 line, 3 rare candies, that's 8 cards in your deck that need to come out to make space for Magnezone. So effectively, when it comes down to consistency on that, it all comes down to testing and how tight you can make your list around it. When you also add into that the fact that Eel variants are probably the only deck in format at the moment that don't just require setup, but they require setup and maintenance, with Eels being so fragile. You can't just set up 2 Eels and that'll do you the game. You tend to have to set up a fresh Eel at least every other turn, if you're fortunate. With Magnezone, the turn you take to set up Magnezone could put you a little behind on the game, but the ability you gave from Dual Brains to actually get more resources out of your deck could compensate for that in the mid to late game. It could make recovering the deck a lot more efficient without having to worry about, you know, how many Super Rods you run. You could just Super Rod, put a couple of Eels back, and that didn't give them what I wanted. Juniper, oh, got those Eels back, blend it onto some Tynamos, there we go. That being said though, this is complete theory. It's whether Magnezone will pay off in practice when it comes to recovery and field maintenance. A plus side of running Magnezone in an Eel variant though is the whole fact that you can actually rely on Magnezone to attack. Magnezone doesn't actually discard its energy, it just takes those free energy, does damage, and then it can retreat to the bench. It also does offer a nice amount of disruption by actually shifting your opponent's board around. The major problem with that is the fact that the format is full of Darkrai and Keldeo, one that offers free retreat to anything on the board, and the other which effectively has a free switch every turn. With all that being said though, I don't think it's all doom and gloom for Magnezone. One option for Magnezone was actually pointed out to me a week ago when I first mentioned this episode to Max. I mentioned this to Max and the first thing he actually turned around and said to me was, Magnezone's pretty good as its own deck. And that right there, I think, actually sums up what Magnezone is. It's its own deck. The way I feel Magnezone should be played is effectively solo Magnezone with backup, something that can actually support him, be it Eels, be it a secondary type of attacker. We all know Mewtwo's going to get put in there somehow. He gets put into every deck, but the Dual Brains will offer you 2 supporters a turn. You can get in amazing clusters of different supporters. Skylar becomes a lot more powerful. You can actually Skylar for a supporter, or you can Skylar, grab an important trainer, play that trainer, use N, use Juniper, use whatever you need to use. It aids its own consistency incredibly well. Add into that the fact that Gyro Ball isn't just doing 80 damage, but it's 80 damage and disruption, and effectively you can force plays out of your opponent. If you're actually against an opponent who's running an Eel variant, they're going to have to rely on cards like Switch to actually get the field back the way it was. Gyro Ball's shifting the field around doesn't really affect something like Keldeo Blastoise or Darkrai, well, just yet anyway, but it still offers Magnezone an ounce of protection in the fact that you can send up Magnezone, make them switch to the bench. Your Magnezone's now on the bench, they have to spend the capture to actually damage your main attacker, instead of just, oh well, you did some damage, I'll damage you more. You don't have that exchange anymore, they have to actually spend the resources to get to your main attacker. Another plus with Magnezone as a deck, deck is the fact that it will most likely encourage the use of Emolga as a starting Pokemon. We all know what Emolga does. For 1 energy, 4 for family, 2 bases on your bench. This will aid setup immensely. You can start with that Emolga, 1 energy, 4 for family, 2 Magnemite. If you can get Candy Magnezone, you're already halfway set up. Add that to the fact that Emolga also has free retreat, giving you something to retreat into after you use Gyro Ball to bring Magnezone to the bench. Sure, Emolga doesn't have the biggest hit points ever, but with it being a free retreater, if they don't knock it out, you can free retreat, bring out Magnezone, swing again. If they do knock it out, you just advance Magnezone, hit your opponent, retreat to the bench, and bring something else out to take the hit. Another plus to actually running Magnezone as its own deck is the fact that you could run an electric engine, and you wouldn't have to run a full complement, so you won't be as dependent on your electric engine in a Magnezone deck as you are in a Raikou deck or a Rayquaza deck. Mostly due to the fact that, as I mentioned before, Magnezone isn't discarding its energy, it's keeping hold of them. And with that in mind, it could be advisable to actually still play a Rayquaza alongside Magnezone. Your brains is going to get a lot of resources at your deck, so you can easily afford to fit in a Fire Energy or two, place it onto a Rayquaza, and when you're done loading up Magnezone, any Dynamotors that you can use could just go to that Rayquaza for a mid to late game sweep. Another advantage to this is the whole fact that you can still effectively have free retreat on that Rayquaza without need for Skyro Bridge. You can very easily just have Magnezone, Gyro Ball, bring it to the bench, attach an electric energy to Rayquaza, pitch the energy to retreat Rayquaza, bring out the Magnezone, Dynamo to the energy back onto Rayquaza. Effectively, you can give yourself a 180 hit point wall. Before Dynamo Drain, you can also very easily, with Rayquaza, pitch down Max Potion, fully heal it, Dynamo to the energy onto it. So effectively, each turn you can have an effective 180 hit point wall that's fresh, no damage on it. You bring it up, takes a hit, retreat it, Max Potion, energy onto it, swing Magnezone, fresh Rayquaza. You don't really have to worry about actually keeping your field present too much, and even using Rayquaza as your free retreating wall. So even without Skyro Bridge, you can have a free retreat that you can have a nice big healthy wall to actually put Magnezone behind. And if you really need to, that 180 hit point wall that you've got for yourself can become a secondary attacker at any moment. Something to effectively clean up the late game for you. With that being said, I feel that Magnezone decks are still going to need a lot of testing coming into this new format. Hopefully Magnezone will be a playable card. I see there being a lot of potential for it to do a lot of damage in the format. It's just whether all of this theory actually works. With all that said though, I'll sign off for now. Until next time, I've been Joey, you guys are top percent. Laters.